You smell that?
Smell that guy sitting all the way down?
Good evening and welcome to the first of two meetings tonight. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove. And at this time, we will convene our Board of Sanitation meeting for Monday, April the 19th, 2021. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each participant to introduce themselves, beginning on my left.
James Kaufman, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Sandy Seward.
Thank you, Board. You have been presented a printed copy of the minutes of the previous meeting dated Monday, April the 5th, 2021. The floor is open for any questions, comments, or corrections.
I have none, thank you.
No questions, comments, or corrections. I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make said motion.
I second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you. This evening, Board, we have 3 pages of wastewater claims in the amount of $87,885.18. Floor is open for questions or comments.
I have none, thank you.
No questions or comments. I'll ask for a motion to approve the wastewater claims dated April the 19th, 2021 in the amount of $87,885.18.
I'll make said motion.
I second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. We have no unfinished business this evening or new business. Any comments from board members?
I have none, thank you.
No comments. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make said motion.
I second. The meeting is adjourned. We will convene our Board of Public Works and Safety meeting as soon as we reset. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the second and final meeting tonight. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove. And at this time, we will convene our Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for Monday, April the 19th, 2021. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each participant to introduce themselves, beginning on my left.
James Kaufman, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Sandy Seward.
Thank you, Board. You have been presented a printed copy of the meeting minutes of the previous meeting dated Monday, April the 5th, 2021. Floor is open for any questions, comments, or corrections.
I have none, thank you.
No questions, comments, or corrections. I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make said motion.
I second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. This evening, Board, we have 21 pages of corporate claims in the amount of $923,343.37. The floor is open for any questions or comments.
I do have a question, please. It is on page 17. And there are, in the bottom half of the ledger is 3 charges from Black Widow Pest Control. They almost look like duplicates. Police Department, City Hall, and the Fire Department. I'm just
That's a
wondering.
good question. It does look like they're duplicated, so I'll check, make sure tomorrow morning before
Okay.
we send the checks
All
out
right.
that.
Thank you. That was my only question.
Okay, thank you for that.
Uh-huh.
No further questions or comments. I'll ask for a motion to approve the corporate claims dated April the 19th, 2021 in the amount of $923,343.37.
I'll make said motion.
I second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you, Board. We have no unfinished business from the previous meeting. Tonight, we have several items under new business. And the first item is the approval to advertise sanitary sewer rehab. I'll call our friends from Westler. Joe, good to see you. Welcome back.
Good to see you. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. My name is Joe Bartos with Westler. I've also got Aaron Payne here with me, engineer on the project. Has been instrumental in getting it together. We're here tonight to request permission to advertise the project for public bidding. Just a little bit of background. The project consists of 14,893 linear feet of cured-in-place pipe lining throughout Beech Grove's sanitary sewer system to address structural issues as well as infiltration and inflow throughout the system. There's 9,521 feet of 8-inch, 2,745 linear feet of 10-inch, 1,794 feet of 12-inch, 344 feet of 15-inch, and 489 feet of 24-inch lining. We'll also be installing 2 manholes where they don't exist currently on top of sewers. The first is between 18th and 19th Street, north of Buffalo Road. And the second is between 13th and 14th on the north side of Buffalo Road. The project also includes a point repair allowance should we encounter any conditions that would not allow for CIPP lining. In terms of the timeline, as of right now, the planned bid opening is May 17th at 6 p.m. And the substantial completion timeline is 150 days. Happy to entertain any questions.
I have none at this time.
For the public's information, this is part of the Okra grant that we received from the state of Indiana, and this project, the work that Joe just described, is in excess of $600,000. So this is the first step in probably 2 or 3 steps to really ramp up our maintenance on the system. So we're looking forward to this. Our system continues to age, and it will become harder to maintain. Plus, we continue to see rate increases for the treatment of wastewater, and this month our bill went up an additional $12,000 over this time last year. So within the last 2 months, our treatment fees has went up over $22,000 from this time last year. So, and I suspect that will continue to go up. But anyway, Joe, I appreciate the work that Westler's done, and Brent couldn't be here tonight, so send him my regards. And
Will do.
if there's not any other questions, I'll ask for a motion to allow Westler Engineering to advertise for this project.
I'll make said motion.
I second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Aaron, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Next order of business is professional services agreement with Circle City Pyrotechnics for the July 3rd fireworks. To the folks watching this, in the years past, the Beech Grove Promoters Club has always paid for the fireworks. Due to COVID last year, the Promoters Club could not raise any money, and they didn't have enough money to do the fireworks display. The fireworks display was canceled last July due to the pandemic, but we have every intent to do it this year. But the change will be, I recommend that the city pick up the tab for the fireworks. I think it's important that we have the fireworks this year. I think it's important that we bring people back into the city and try to get back to some type of normalcy. So I asked our attorney, Craig, that would fit the needs and allow us to have fireworks in the park this July. I'm not interested in running the show. I want the promoters to continue to do what they've always done. Our role will be to pay for the fireworks. So I'll defer to Craig. Craig, do you have any comments on this?
No, it's a professional services agreement. We factored in a rain date in case we need it, but it's pretty self-explanatory. I think it's a good idea. It's a morale thing for the city. I mean, the promoters can't go out and raise the money that they usually do because of, the restrictions we're under. So, they would, like you said, they would run the show. They would do the cleanup at the end. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good thing for the city.
Sandy, your thoughts on it?
So would you predict for the following years that the Promoters Club would continue what they've always done in the past? So
We hope. We missed a golden opportunity last year because it was Friday, and we could have tied it in with First Friday on Main Street, but all that changed with COVID. So this year, we want to pick it back up and do some kind of theme with the fireworks so we can have a lot of people down on Main Street. So that's the reason why I approached the Promoters Club. And I think it's good for the city, and I hope we do it. I've also, Jim, I'd like for Jim to comment about it because it's a $10,000 investment. And, I asked Jim, if we were able to do this financially, obviously. So Jim, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's a great way to provide this to the citizens. Promoters Club has always been here for the city of Beech Grove and brought people here several times throughout the year. I think it's a great way, great investment. It will come out of the professional services for the Board of Works. There's plenty of money there in that appropriation, so I don't see an issue with it. Like I said, I think it's great for us to kind of give back to the Promoters Club, let us continue with some normalcy, and hope for the best in the future, because I think people will come out and it'll be great, and they're hitting Main Street and they're hitting the other businesses here in Beech Grove, and just bring people back to the city again. So
I think if you don't mind, Jim, if you could read this into the record so the public can hear it.
this professional services agreement is made and entered into between the Circle City Pyrotechnics Incorporated, whose address is 4101 Alden Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana 46221, and the City of Beech Grove, Indiana, having its principal place of business located at 806 Main Street, City Hall, Beech Grove, Indiana 46107. This agreement supersedes all other previous agreements between the city and the contractor. Whereas the city desires to engage the contractor to perform certain services for the city, whereas the city desires, on the terms and conditions stated herein, to contract with the contractor in order to obtain the services of an independent contractor. whereas the contractor desires on the terms and conditions stated herein to provide services to the city as an independent contractor. Now therefore, in consideration of the foregoing recitals and of the promises, covenants, terms, and conditions contained in this agreement, the parties agree as follows. 1. Recitals incorporated. The recitals stated above are agreed by the parties to be true and accurate, to be true and correct, and are incorporated herein by reference, and shall constitute in part consideration for this agreement. Services to be rendered and expectations. The city desires that contractor perform, and the contractor agrees to the following. On July 3rd, 2021, in Sarah T. Bolton Park at dusk, contractor will shoot off a fireworks display for the benefit and enjoyment of the citizens of the city. Should the event be canceled on July 3rd, 2021 for any reason, including weather, contractor will shoot off a fireworks display in Sarah T. Bolton Park at dusk on August 14th, 2021 for the benefit and enjoyment of the citizens of the city. The city shall pay contractor an amount not to exceed $10,000 at the first available claim cycle after the fireworks display has successfully concluded. Contractor shall invoice the city no later than 10 calendar days prior to the July 3rd, 2021 event. The contractor shall provide the city with a certificate of insurance with the minimum amount of $1 million coverage and list the city as the additional insured. The contractor shall allow a representative of the city's fire department to serve as a chief safety officer and oversee the unloading of the fireworks, all aspects of the installations and preparation to shoot fireworks, and the lighting of the fireworks display. The chief safety officer shall have safety jurisdiction over the display and the area surrounding the display. The contractor shall comply with all regulations of the state of Indiana and all local regulation. The contractor shall be in full compliance with the state of Indiana Department of Homeland Security and the city prior to the display of fireworks in the city of Beech Grove, Indiana. This agreement shall automatically renew on May 1st each year unless the party decides to withdraw from the agreement. Should a party decide to separate from such agreement, a 30-day written notice to the other party is required. 3. Confidentiality and non-disclosure. Contractor acknowledges and agrees that the city has and will have confidential and proprietary information, including this agreement, that it may have access to. Contractor agrees not to at any time or in any manner, either directly or indirectly, divulge, disclose, or communicate confidential and/or proprietary information to third parties without the prior written consent of the city. As used herein, confidential information shall include anything that the city deems to be confidential in its best interest and shall include any information that is not generally known to the public, either at all or in the form that such information is and that relates to the business of the city, or which has been expressly or implicitly protected by the city, or which contractor knows or has the reason to know that the city expects not to be disclosed to persons not employed by the city. Further, contractor shall not directly or indirectly disclose terms of this agreement to anyone other than contractor's attorney, except to the extent such disclosure may be required for accounting or tax reporting purposes, or as otherwise required by law. The terms of this section shall survive the termination of this agreement. Indemnification. Contractor hereby agrees to indemnify and hold the city harmless from any and all claims, cost, of any kind or character whatsoever, whether at law and equity, by statute or otherwise, whether known, unknown, suspected or unsuspected, which the city may incur or suffer arising out of the breach of this agreement by the contractor. This provision shall survive the termination of this agreement. Governing law. The agreement shall be governed by and construed and enforced in accordance with the laws of the state of Indiana, without giving effect to the principles of comity or conflicts of laws thereof. Should any provision of this agreement be invalid or unenforceable, the remainder of this agreement shall not be affected thereby and shall be enforceable to the greatest extent permitted by law. This agreement shall inure to the benefit of and shall be binding upon the parties hereto and their respective successors, assigns, heirs, and legal representatives. Should any dispute arise between the parties that would be governed by this agreement, the state of Indiana shall have jurisdiction over such dispute, and the sole venue shall be in a state or federal court of competent jurisdiction sitting in Marion County, Indiana. Assignment. Contractor agrees that this agreement may be assigned and enforced by the city and any assignee of successor of the city. The contractor shall not assign or delegate any of its rights, duties, or obligations under this agreement without the express written consent of the city. Waiver. The failure of a party to enforce any term, provision, or condition of this agreement at any time shall not be deemed a waiver of that term, provision, or condition for the future, nor shall any specific waiver of a term, provision, or condition at one time be deemed a waiver of such term, provision, or condition for any future time. Waiver of jury trial. The parties knowingly, voluntarily, and intentionally waive the right to a trial by jury in respect to any litigation based on this agreement or arising out of, under, or in connection with this agreement. This provision is a material inducement for the parties to enter into this agreement. Legal fees. In the event either party hereto employs an attorney for the purpose of enforcing or construing this agreement or any judgment based on this agreement in any legal proceeding whatsoever, including insolvency, bankruptcy, arbitration, declaratory relief, or other litigation, including appeals and rehearings, the prevailing party in such litigation shall be entitled to recover from the other party its reasonable attorneys and contractors' fees and expenses incidental to such litigation and all court costs and fees through all trial and appellate levels. The prevailing party means the party determined by the court to most nearly prevail and not necessarily the one in whose favor a judgment is rendered. This provision is separate in several and shall survive the merger of this agreement into any judgment with respect thereto. Entire agreement. This agreement represents the entire understanding between the parties. Amendment. This agreement may not be modified or amended other than by an agreement in writing signed by both parties. And witness thereof, the undersigned have executed this agreement as of the date first above written.
Thanks, Jim. Sandy, any further thoughts?
I do. I have a question.
Sure.
So, we still don't know where this virus is going, right? We're hoping that we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. But with our positive cases still increasing, what if Governor Holcomb has some type of gathering restriction? How would we then proceed?
There's a couple things. We could obviously cancel the fireworks again, which I don't want to do. We can shoot the fireworks with the park closed, which would be extremely difficult, but we could give it a shot. I don't want to think like that because I think all indication shows that the city of Indianapolis is moving forward. They have to find a new home due to the density of housing that's been built down in the fall zone. So that's happening. Carmel is moving forward with their Carmel Fest fireworks. And a couple cities to the south of us are moving forward as well. This is all in the planning stage. So I don't want to wait until June
Sure.
to do all of this. I want to get it settled and get it planned. And if we have to cancel it, then we have to cancel it.
Okay.
I just don't want to do that.
Right.
This city needs a boost.
Absolutely. I agree.
And before we vote, for the folks watching, this is a agreement. So the city's going to pay for fireworks this year in the amount of $10,000. This is the first time that I can remember doing it. And to reiterate, I'm not too sure our friends at the Promoters Club would be able to financially afford this. So we want to help them out, and we want to help the city out. And hopefully by July 3rd, it will be, enough people will have the vaccine that we'll be able to do this. So having said that, if there's not any further questions, I'll ask for a motion to approve the professional service agreement between Circle City Pyrotechnics and the City of Beech Grove for the public display of fireworks.
I'll make that motion.
I second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you. Next up is 2021 paving advertisement update. This is not an item for approval this evening. This is just public information to the citizens that today in the Indianapolis Star there was an advertisement for paving. We are advertising for a major project that we're going to be doing in the summer. We're going to pave 10 roads, and today was the first advertisement for that process. Next week, this next Monday, we'll have another advertisement in the paper, and contractors can now come to City Hall and pick up a packet to bid on the paving. We will open these bids on May 3rd. So having said that, we'll move on to landscape supplement for the Franciscan Trail. And board, there is a 3-page stapled thing from Adams Landscape Proposal to do some landscaping stabilization for the Franciscan Trail in the amount of $9,953. And on page 2 and 3, there's pictures of, and they're not very good pictures, but it shows the height of the wall, and there's not much space between the wall of these people's home and where it starts to slope down for the trail. At a previous meeting, we authorized a fence to be installed, and this is part of that fence to keep people out of there. And the landscape that we propose to be installed will stabilize that area between where it slopes off and the wall of that house. So this is, we even though it was under $10,000 threshold, we did receive 2 bids, and this was the most responsive bid from Adams Landscape Proposal for the Franciscan Trail, and it goes behind the house owned by Todd and Julie Oschleger in Park Meadow. So I'll open the floor for any questions. This was included in the project. This is just a supplement that we have to add. So, Sandy, any thoughts on this?
I do have a question. So is the fence along the trail, or is it up in the folks' yard?
Up in the yard on both sides.
Okay. So is there going to be any type of retaining wall that's next to?
No, this wall, or this path, Sandy, goes, it's about a 10-foot right now. It will, the path, they have to add to the depth of the path, so it will rise a little bit.
Okay.
So when it's all said and done, it won't be a 10-foot, it will be 5 to 7 feet from their grass.
Okay. So I guess what I'm saying, so right here you have the trailway. Mm-hmm. So to hold back this mound of the wall, will that be like pavers? What's going to hold that back?
Earth.
Okay.
Earth, they're going to
Plant
slope
material?
it, and they've already started doing it.
Okay. Okay.
Have you talked to the neighbors, Mayor?
Beg your pardon?
Have you talked to the neighbors the folks you were talking about earlier, do they know about this?
Todd and Julie, yes. Yes, they know about it. And then we'll have to do it again when we get behind Chris Fulp's house. But his is a little more in depth because the bridge comes out where his property is. But yeah, this has been, we have sat down with Todd and Julie and a gentleman by the name of Jeff Mader Design. And he's actually the one who's developed this. So yes, they are on board, and we are doing this. It will be in the best interest of the city and them personally.
Okay.
So if there's not any other questions, I'll ask for a motion to accept the landscape proposal from Adams Landscaping in the amount of $9,953.
I'll make said motion.
I second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you, Board. Chief, you want to come on up? We have two items. The first item is civilian paramedic update, and it's the email that you sent over. Can you take us through that with the probationary civilian?
Yes. Civilian paramedic Jay Nadeau, he was our probationary civilian medic that hired on in March. He was late for employment over 3 times in just over a month. He was let go per our city handbook and Beech Grove Fire Department policy for tardiness. It's very important that our employees show up on time for work, and being a probationary employee with less than a month, it was our due diligence to go ahead and let him go from his employment with the Beech Grove Fire Department. The mayor and Craig and clerk treasurer were sent an email updating them on what we had to do with that employee.
Jim, can you read the email into the record, please?
Yes, sir. Civilian paramedic Nadeau was released from employment today. Today was his 3rd time late within just over 1 month of employment. April 8th will be listed as his last day of employment. No issues. The employee expected today's outcome after previous write-ups and discussions. Thanks, Ralph.
Sandy, any thoughts from you?
I have none.
Yeah, I agree completely with the chief. We can't have that from a new person with less than a month on the job. And by the way, any employee hired by the city is on probation for 1 year and can be dismissed. So I just want to make it official, and I'll ask for a motion to dismiss civilian paramedic Nadeau from employment with the city.
I'll make said motion.
I second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Thanks, Chief. Next up is approval to hire civilian paramedic.
Mayor and Board, the Beech Grove Fire Department has 1 opening for civilian paramedic. I would like to ask the Board for approval to hire Josh Wickert. Josh has successfully completed the process and will start the payroll period beginning May 1st, 2021. The base pay will not exceed $21.23 for this position.
Thank you. Obviously, Jim, the money's in the budget.
Yes, sir.
Thoughts or questions?
I'm only going to assume that this person replaces the former.
Yes, that is correct. And give you a little information, Josh is he's a paramedic for IEMS. He went through our process. He came in 3rd in process. I think he's a very strong candidate. Josh works for Franciscan Health. He also works for us down at Station 56 and 57 at times. And I think Josh will be a very good fit for our department.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Having said that and heard that, I'll ask for a motion to hire Josh Wickert as a civilian paramedic with the Beech Grove Fire Department.
I'll make said motion.
I second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Next order of business is the Thompson Road Trail Project construction inspection. The Thompson Road Trail that we're working on is a path that extends on the north side of Thompson from Emerson to 9th Avenue. It is an NDOT project, and it is set to go out for bid in September of this year. So having said that, we need to hire an inspector for that project. And Brad has put it online, and he has had, I think, 7 to 8 companies bid or put up a bid in for this inspection project. So Brad and his committee came up with a recommendation that we use Crossroad Engineers for the inspection services. Crossroad is a logical choice because they're here in Beech Grove, and on previous projects, they have done the inspection. They did the inspection on the Churchman Avenue sidewalks, and they did the inspection on the recently completed roundabout that out on Arlington Avenue at Big Four. So I want to have Jim read the director's letter into the record, please. Jim?
Dear Mr. Newport, it is my pleasure to inform you that Crossroad Engineers has been selected for the City of Beech Grove Thompson Road Multi-Use Trail Project, DES number 1801422. We are excited to work with Crossroads Engineers and look forward to the next step of negotiating a contract for your construction inspection services. Please feel free to email me at brad.merriweather@beechgrove.com or call me directly at 317-803-9091. Thank you for your interest in the City of Beech Grove. We do appreciate the time you invested in this successful letter of interest. Respectfully, Brad Merriweather, Director of Public Works.
I want tonight to approve the request from the director to use Crossroad Engineers as the construction inspection for the Thompson Road Trail.
I'll make said motion.
I second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. For the public's information, right now, the city of Indianapolis is doing some extensive work on Thompson Road between Emerson and Shelbyville Road. They are going to totally repave that road. And as stated earlier, I appreciate the efforts by the Indianapolis DPW Director Dan Parker and Frank Mascari, who is our city-county counselor for that area. Those of us who drive on that road know that it needs to be redone. But what I want to make sure you understand is that is not the trail project. That is a separate project. Our trail project that is much needed will be let out for bid in September. So I just want to make that clear that the work being done out there today and for the next couple of weeks is not the Thompson Trail. It's totally separate. So thank you. Next up is an agreement for technology services by DCC Incorporated, and I want to defer to Jim. This whole process, Jim has done a nice job with getting new phones, getting new computers, servers throughout the entire city, and we're stepping it up again. And Jim, if you want to comment on this. And
Yeah, so when we took office, there were several people who were kind of maintaining and managing the city's IT network. Thanks to the CARES money that we received last year, we were able to upgrade a lot of it. The phones, the networks, the internet, all that whole entire system. Our next step is merging everything over to Microsoft 365. DCC, they've been doing all this work, and this will just kind of streamline the process, making them the sole entity who is responsible for the city's communications and the city's IT. This will guarantee that they are able to fix any issues that come up, regardless of the time of day. We are paying for that service, and basically, we currently use them every month, and we have charges every month for their services they provide. Again, this just streamlines it, gives us a better rate for it, and just guarantees that they will be here to fix it if anything should happen, or if there are any outages. They will be here to make sure that they get fixed as soon as possible. So, again, just streamlining it, just making sure that, again, we know we can count on them for the next 2 years, and that they can also count on us in return.
I was reading this, and I think, is this a 2-year agreement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have come a long way with technology since Jim's been in office. And I'm looking forward to this. I think we should do this. But I'm also very interested in the fiber optics that we can install to each building of the city. This is coming down the road. This will really enhance our service. And we've went from basic string and tin cans to the latest technology. So I'm happy about it, and I think we should do this. And if there's not any further questions, I'll ask for a motion to enter into an agreement with DCC Incorporated for computer technologies and IT service.
Would they help you with fiber optics down the road?
Yeah,
They would.
Yeah, and they've mentioned that in the last couple weeks about there as an option that they're presenting to us once we get the merge over, and it's a more cost to do that, but it's a dedicated line that is solely to the city of
That they
Beech
can
Grove,
help
and that's
you.
it.
Okay.
So again, something that I'd like to look to here in the next year or two, something that we can fit in the budget, but yeah, they are looking into the options for that.
Okay, thank you. I'll make said motion. to
I
hire-
second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Jim, you could sign that one.
Yes, sir.
Final order of new business this evening is approval to hire a sewage works clerk. And I'll defer to the clerk to read this into the record, please.
Dear Board, I'm requesting to create a new position in the Sewage Works Department. It will be for a billing clerk. The payment for this position would not exceed $34,460.64. With your approval, the position will be advertised accordingly. Respectfully, James Kaufman, Clerk Treasurer, City of Beech Grove.
Any thoughts, Jim? We've talked about this extensively. There's several reasons why I think we should do this.
There's several, yes. So when I took office, we were basically down one employee in my office when we took office a year and a half ago. So this will basically fill that position. It is in the salary ordinance. It is a line on the salary ordinance and in the budget. We will be opening up back up to the public again here soon, so I anticipate a lot more traffic coming in. So that'll help kind of alleviate some of that there. A couple of the part-timers in my office, some of them's going to take some time off later this year, so we'll kind of make sure that we have people there when we need them every day, and having this part-time position will guarantee that.
Okay. Thank you.
No further questions. I'll ask for a motion to allow the clerk to create a new position in the Sewage Works Department.
I'll make said motion.
I second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Thank you. Sandy, any comments this evening?
I have none. Thank you.
I have a couple. Jim just mentioned that City Hall will reopen for business on Monday, May the 3rd. Now, there are some restrictions. One is if you come into the building, you will have to wear a mask. Second, we are probably only going to allow one person to come in at a time. And I'm not sure about this yet, but we're leaning toward requesting that you not come into the building if you are not vaccinated. But we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But second thing I wanted to mention is we have a council workshop in these chambers tomorrow night, Tuesday, April the 20th at 6:30 p.m. And it is to introduce the professional services team, Meyer Najum, who has been chosen to develop a plan for the new police station. They will be here to introduce themselves and throw out some ideas on construction. Plus, we will hear a presentation from our financial advisor on how we can pay for this new building. And if you've been out to the police station, it will take you about 2 minutes to realize that this isn't acceptable anymore. We have to have a new building. So I'm looking forward to the presentation tomorrow. It is open to the public, and the public will be allowed to ask questions after the presentation is over. So having said that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make said motion.
I second. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.